against Zuppy. So a completely different kind of Fox to deal with now for Swift.
Also a box mirror matchup. Both these players on the box,
Ooh.
kind of gonna make things a bit different. Gonna make them kind of watching out for certain options. Obviously, we saw Kemp really having to adjust to the consistency of Swift's SDI on the up throw up air, which I also don't want to like write off as it's box, it's free. Like he is very, very capable, able to make it look easy. So should be a good set. And also, they're both playing the same controller, so you can't be like, well, one person had, they're as even as they could be.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll see how this one goes. I'm not really sure if I feel like they must have played because both of these players are pretty active in entering online tournaments, and I think they're, both pretty close as far as regions that they live in.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to imagine they have played, but I'm not really sure what the set history looks like between them. But again, if Zuppy knows the Pikachu matchup well, then I would potentially. I don't know. It's hard to say. I was gonna say that maybe Zuppy is a favorite, but Swift is really good, man. It's hard to say that.
It honestly is a harder one to call. Like where Kem doesn't have the kind of established legacy, Zuppy has more of that like hype around him right now. People are like, "Yo, like Zuppy, he's a one to watch. Like he's actually like pretty scary to play." And like we kind of have been seeing that. Obviously, Ben, like Zuppy's still in losers, not unstoppable, but I mean, I'm feeling a Swift victory, I think largely because of Swift kind of getting that Fox warm up already. I know for me, like if I can kind of get into a matchup and get kind of like comfortable, then going into that very next kind of matchup in a bracket feels really good. So that's kind of my pick, I guess, is Swift, but hard to say.
Yeah, again, in a matchup like this, it also really depends on how well Zuppy knows the matchup, and that's gonna play a huge role here. But Swift is coming off 2 really good wins over really good Foxes, so could certainly see Swift taking this as well. And either way, I think this sets up a very interesting grand finals against Ben, regardless of who ends up winning this set.
To be honest, the thing that is kind of surprising is Ben in grand finals. Like, of those 3 players, I feel like he would be the last pick of mine to be like, yeah, who is waiting in grands to fight them? Like, he is still a very capable player, but he has had the most impressive showing, I would say, able to kind of sweep through so many Foxes one after the other.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a good confidence builder for Ben, who I feel like as of late hasn't had the greatest performances online, at least compared to how well he was doing, at certain parts of quarantine. So for him to take an event like this would be really good for his confidence going into the IRL majors returning soon.
Absolutely, and I feel like he has proven, I believe it was Smash World Tour, that he is not an online only player. He's had good results, but he's also a fairly young player. Like, and I think some of his, like, not to read into his tweets too much, but like I still think when you're a bit younger, like mentality can be like more of a factor. You have like more stuff to prove. You're kind of like, you're not like as seasoned and experienced. And I think like winning an event like this is a huge confidence booster. So
yeah,
I think Ben really wants to win.
It kind of just proves to yourself that you can do it, right? And even though I think Ben has won at least 1 or 2 fairly stacked online tournaments in the past, but to do it right before all these IRL majors start coming back, especially when you've maybe been slumping a bit compared to usual, that would definitely be great for Ben. But that being said, Swift right now is coming through losers with a vengeance after taking out Aklo, and then Kem is up 3 stocks to 2 now in game 1 against Zuppy.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think another thing too, not to focus too much on Ben when we got this game going, is just like, who does Ben want to play? You know, like if you're a Sheik player, I feel like you're leaning towards Pikachu, because even though Pikachu against Fox, like, isn't a good matchup. Look at that opening, by the way. The edge cancel up Bs have just been so insane. Yeah. This is looking like a clip.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, but he
still got it.
Oh my goodness, that was crazy from both players. The fact that Zuppy went for that shine was, I thought, genius. But then,
yeah,
I can't believe that Swift found a way to still get that kill afterward. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of like, it felt like, you know, Fox sort of leveraging kind of the power of him as a character, and then Swift saying like, no, I still got some tricks up in my sleeve. I can turn this around. Man, he hits like every single SDI. Like it, I can see why people started to get a little salty about it. Like, just that is consistency on another level.
For sure. Oh, man, and that's going to be a quick stock to start game 2. Swift is building all kinds of momentum before potentially making it to Grands. Obviously, still got to finish this set out, but Swift is looking hot right now.
Yeah, you know, we got the fortune teller and chillin', already predicting Swift's victory, it feels like. But, you know, we got to see what Zuppy does to answer back. Obviously, a very, very capable player in his own right. It's always tricky, too, because, like, I know I used to be from Ontario. Like, I know there aren't really Pikachus in Ontario. But that kind of age of like, oh, there's no Pikachu in our region, so we can't get practice, is kind of over. So like, you'd expect Zuppy to have like still a fair amount of experience. You know, Swift living relatively closely, they would have good connections. So hard to say.
Yeah, I think it's a very weird. Oh wow. Okay, doesn't survive, so that works out really well for Zuppy, because if Swift had managed to survive that, then that would have been brutal. But It's just a very strange matchup, I think, from Fox's perspective. There's just a lot of kind of weird stuff that you have to look out for that doesn't really apply to
like that
pretty much any other matchup. Yeah. So even if you are like somewhat familiar with it, then you still might not be that comfortable in the matchup overall.
Yeah, like I mean, you see players saying things like, starting to remember the Pikachu matchup, even if they've played Pikachu like over and over. Like during Summit, you'd see people tweeting stuff like that, just because it's very different, especially for certain characters. Like I would say, like, even though people always kind of compare the species, as a Falco player, I would say Falco Pikachu is a lot easier. Like the combos are more consistent with Falco's like pillaring flowchart, whereas with Fox, it feels like you have to be a bit more creative, like a bit more used to kind of Pikachu specific combos.
No, I can definitely agree with that. I think that's definitely part of what just makes it again, even if it's a matchup that you are somewhat comfortable with or somewhat familiar with as Fox, it's one that you still actively need practice for, right? Like you can't just go into it with the knowledge and having not played it in like a year and expect to do well against the likes of Swift here, who, by the way, is up 2-0 now and threatening to make it into grand finals. We'll see if Zuppy can do something different in this game 3 here. I do expect to see Stadium again.
I'm a bit curious what's going on right now. Like, is it a connection issue? Are they, you know, is a controller issue or something? Because Swift looking like he's sort of scrambling around his room trying to get something going.
Yeah, not quite sure what's causing the brief delay here, but the really scary thing here, I think, from Zuppy's perspective, is you're kind of in that down 2-0 against Marth situation now, right? Where you have to win 2 straight games on FD, presumably, against someone that can chain grab the hell out of you. To win the set, and that is very tough to do. Arguably even harder against Pikachu than it is against Marth, to be honest.
I would agree, because Pikachu, despite having like the world's tiniest grab hitbox, he has like a pretty like easy-ish chain grab. Like I don't want to like just discount Pikachu players' ability, especially the low percents, but like it is more lenient, I would say, than Marth's is. Marth, you know, you have to hit the pivots on like no DI. You know, you have to worry about things like shine. Like there are some things that kind of make it more difficult. And then it doesn't go forever either, right? Like then you have to start doing other stuff. You got to be mixing in up airs and up tilts and kind of like mixing in DI mix up stuff and forward smash and stuff. Pikachu doesn't have that. He's just up throw, up throw, up throw.
Yep. It's pretty much just practically an automatic 0 to death for Pikachu every time. So it's definitely rough in that sense. So we'll see. But right now, Zuppy's just trying to get on the board to begin with as we go into game 3.
Yeah, and even in that moment, this is kind of the power of Swift's punish game. Like, he got 82%. It looked like Zuppy was getting the momentum he needed, and Swift was like, no.
Yeah, that was a really good way to stifle that quickly from Swift, and then looked like a reverse jab toward the edge that led to an accidental air dodge from Zuppy. Interesting way for the first stock to end.
Absolutely. Going for the back air once again, respecting the SDI. I like that little Thunder Shock to kind of give him some room, but Zuppy covers him all the same. And, 43%, not too bad. Still able to kind of leverage CC a bit, especially against his kind of spaced aerials.
Okay.
I like these little tilts. Just kind of zoning them out, playing footsies.
Yep. Oh man, just the immediately follow up with the up smash. Good stuff from Swift, who is on the verge of taking the 3-0 here. We'll see if Zuppy can try to turn something around. Oh man.
Oh, just that little ledge grab. Like, certain things in Melee just look so cool, even if they have like no business looking cool. Like, I don't know. This is like good momentum though from Zuppy. He's getting solid damage. Could get a kill off this. Up smash probably will kill. But I don't know, like, we're kind of seeing like Swift like bully Zuppy, and Pikachu isn't really the character you associate with that kind of play, where they're just like I'm kind of the one dictating the pace of the game. He feels like he's not good enough, but Swift kind of showing us that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Look at this. Oh.
Yeah, and oh my goodness. This could be it. Now, okay, great shorten from Zuppy to give himself another chance at life, but it definitely feels like maybe Zuppy is somewhat familiar with the matchup, but I wouldn't call him comfortable at the matchup, It definitely doesn't feel like he's got right now it's looking a lot better, but in terms of the neutral overall, okay, that works out. Zuppy not out of it yet.
I mean, if you want to look for comfort, like, Swift is comfortable in a matchup right now. We are seeing a guy who has played Fox's time and time again. He's got Fox behind him right now. Like, Fox literally has his back. So good stuff to Swift.
Yeah, and it's actually a bit rare to see that up smash to Thunder actually end a set like that. So good stuff to Swift with the 3-0, and again a pretty strong losers run in general from Swift to get to this point, with again the reverse 3-0 over Aklo, and then the 3-1 over Chem, and now 3-0, just a regular 3-0 over Zuppy to move into grand finals against Ben.
Yeah, really. We were thinking it would go either way. Maybe Swift is the favorite. But Swift showing us he is no joke, really, really comfortable in the matchup. Clearly something that, if you're Zuppy, if you're making a checklist of stuff to work on ahead of Genesis, ahead of kind of some of the IRL tournaments coming up as of late, Pikachu is one of them. Like I know Zane, when he was having trouble against Axe, he called on Swift himself to kind of get comfortable there. He played him all the time. He said, this is going to be my comfort matchup. Maybe we need to see something similar from many players, because Swift is proving he is just as much of a threat as Axe, if not potentially more so.
Yeah, they definitely have very distinct styles from each other, but Swift is proving that he's close to, if not on the same level. But we do have the Ben versus Swift grand finals coming up. We will have a brief break beforehand. Stay tuned for grand finals of the East Coast side of the Galint Melee Open coming up right after this.
Keep it locked, guys.